All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really profound, honestly paradigm-shifting perspective on the dynamic between men and women. We're looking at some source material that completely redefines the relationship between man and wife. If you've ever felt like the modern power struggles between genders are just exhausting, or that there's got to be a deeper, more resonant way to understand our roles, well, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to explore what the sources call the celestial picture. It's a framework that takes literally everything we thought we knew about dominance, protection, and partnership and just flips it entirely on its head. Think about it. For centuries, the narrative has been super linear and, frankly, incredibly rigid. We're all so accustomed to a specific top-down hierarchy, right? But what if that entire structure is actually an inversion of the truth? The source material we're analyzing today posits exactly that. It suggests that if we look past our everyday earthly assumptions, the true eternal structure of relationships doesn't just look a little different, it's entirely upside down compared to what we've been conditioned to accept.
Which brings us to Section 1, our flawed societal programming.
Look, we live in a world where the power struggle is incredibly real for women today, largely because they've been minimized and devalued for so long. The texts explicitly point out that society has programmed us to hold women beneath, as opposed to lifting them up. From ancient times straight through to the modern era, this massive societal illusion has created a really exhausting dynamic. Women are frequently positioned as if they're fundamentally under a man in the hierarchy of worth and decision-making. And there's a massive contrast between that earthly society and the true eternal realm outlined in the sources. In our earthly setup, like we just said, the model is basically male dominance and female minimization. But if we could just tune in to the ideas outlined in the source material, we'd see a much different, much more celestial picture. In this higher framework, men are actually the ones under women. Now, the text explains this isn't about men becoming subservient in some demeaning way, not at all. Actually, scratch that, it's more about the man's role being to protect, to serve, and crucially, to submit to her counsel. It's a total inversion of the earthly power dynamic we're used to. So, let's move into Section 2, redefining the eternal roles. In this context, the man's role isn't to be over the woman. It's to battle the storms and provide safety so he can serve her greater good. The source material is super clear on this. Yes, the man provides safety. Yes, he's the one out there battling the elements. But, and this is a massive paradigm shift here, he doesn't do this because he's the boss or over her. He does it because his fundamental eternal role is to serve her greater good. He's the guardian at the gate, not the king on the throne. His strength is used strictly for protection and service, which fundamentally positions him as the foundational support holding her up. I mean, think about how radical that is. We usually equate honoring someone with just putting them on a pedestal, but the text goes way deeper. It states that for a man, the ultimate test of honoring his wife is by being subject to her. It completely redefines masculine strength. Strength isn't about enforcing your will anymore. True strength, according to this celestial picture, is having the humility and the wisdom to actually submit to her guidance. And that brings us to Section 3, the power of her counsel.
The author actually calls this a beautifully weird dynamic, mostly because it breaks literally all of our earthly rules. The man is the one who essentially enacts the decisions, he's the refiner of the action out there in the storm, but he operates strictly under her counsel. He doesn't just go rogue and proceed without her. She is the sovereign muse providing the direction, and he's the eternal guardian executing it.
The source actually outlines a really fascinating, highly specific sequence for this. Step 1, he absolutely must have her counsel first. He doesn't just come up with a plan and demand she follow along. He actively seeks her wisdom. Step 2, armed with her counsel, he then seeks confirmation from the Heavenly Father, essentially acting as the refiner of truth. But the text explicitly notes he cannot do this unilaterally. He can't just bypass her. And finally, step 3, once he gets that confirmation, he moves forward, but only according to the counsel she originally provided. It's this perfect continuous loop of partnership. Next up is Section 4, the divine entanglement. This definition really ties the whole shebang together. It shows that the ultimate test of worthiness for both of them is being subjected to the Father's will through this shared process. The source calls it an entanglement because their roles are so incredibly interwoven that one literally cannot succeed without the other. The man honors the woman by subjecting himself to her counsel, but at the exact same time, both of them are proving their ultimate worthiness by subjecting themselves to the will of the Father. It just completely dissolves that whole earthly power struggle between husband and wife and replaces it with a unified submission to a higher divine truth. All right, final section, Section 5, seeking beauty and truth. So according to the source, this is exactly how the resonance model functions. The model suggests that the man is the refiner of truth by battling the storms and seeking the father's confirmation. And because he provides that heavy protective layer, she is shielded. She's empowered to go find and cultivate beauty. The man is out there absorbing the friction of the outside world, freeing her from the brutalizing effects of the storm so she can just radiate beauty within their shared existence.
The texts actually emphasize that without the companionship of a woman who knows beauty, the man is pretty much left to his own devices if he proceeds without her counsel. He might be able to fight endlessly, sure, but to what end? The source material makes such a profound observation here. A man is a good fighter, but he doesn't know beauty the way a woman does. He needs her vision of beauty to give his fighting an actual purpose. And conversely, she needs his protection to allow that beauty to flourish.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought for today's explainer. Imagine the kind of harmony we could achieve if we replace dominance with this divine entanglement of protection, counsel, and beauty. I mean, if we could just let go of the societal programming that constantly pits men and women against each other in this exhausting race to the top of an illusionary hierarchy, what might actually be possible? By recognizing the man as the eternal guardian who honors his wife by submitting to her counsel, and the woman as the sovereign muse who guides him with her innate understanding of beauty, we step out of the power struggle completely. It's definitely a challenging, paradigm-shifting way to look at relationships, but honestly, it might be the exact shift we need to truly lift each other up.